Stop leaving money on the table by making these follow-up mistakes. You don't want to be annoying, but you have to stay on top of mind of leads. It's rare that they close the deal on the first email or the first pitch. In this video, I break down the best follow-up practices that I've seen work in my own business so that you can try them for yourself and reap the same rewards that I get from implementing this follow-up process. Now, if you've been on LinkedIn or Twitter recently, you are getting bombarded with horrendous pitches. I mean, it's not even funny how bad most of those cold pitches are. People jump at you because you are in the same Facebook group or in the same LinkedIn group, and they go straight into what they want you to do for them, which is ridiculous. And then you obviously ignore their emails and ignore their DMs and all that stuff. And 2 days later, they follow up and they even get angry because you didn't respond to them. Don't be that person. In this video, I'll share with you how you can bring empathy and compassion into the follow-up process and how that flips the entire conversation around and how that helps you close the deal. Hi, I am Jan Koch. I'm a proud Cloudways maverick and I run jankoch.co. I'm the Uncommon Solopreneur, and in this video I want to share with you how I've adapted my follow-up process over the past few years and the results that I got from this. Without this optimized follow-up process, I left boatloads of money on the table. My follow-up messages, be it on Twitter, be it on LinkedIn, be it via email, simply were ignored. I was shouting into Nirvana. I was at times sending 20 to 30 follow-up messages a day. And still nothing. Even when I ramped it up to 100 messages per day for a few weeks, nothing happened. And it was mentally draining. I eventually stopped selling even for a while. I eventually stopped pitching and I just relied on word of mouth referrals. I just relied on inbound leads rather than creating outbound leads for my business, which obviously is a recipe for disaster. And lastly, it was frustrating to waste so much time writing follow-up messages or even setting up systems for automated follow-ups. And I was wasting money on follow-up message tools, on all those automated sequences, because in the end they didn't work for me. And it wasn't until I mentally flipped a switch and came to the follow-up perspective from a different angle that eventually made my follow-up process turn leads into clients, and then later on these clients became advocates and they drive more business to me now. My follow-up messages now make me come across as helpful instead of being salesy or being needy. Most importantly, I now gain insights in the buying cycles of my leads. When is the best time to pitch them? When are they making the buying decisions? For example, when you want to have sponsors for your podcast, or when you pitch that new web design project, or when you pitch this big mobile app development thing. You want to know when those companies make decisions on investing. When are the budgets allocated? When do they plan for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4? And what do they do at the end of the year when there's a budget left and they need to spend it because otherwise the budget will get shortened and decreased for the next year? Those are insights that you want to get from your follow-up process. And also, I have learned which communication channels work best for following up. And this is very, very important knowledge to have. So let's dive into the 5 steps that I took to improve my follow-up process, to see more results from it so that you can take the same steps, see it for yourself and see if you get similar results. Step number 1. Shorten the follow-up time. When you send an email, follow up the next day, follow up the next day, follow up the next day. You don't want to be annoying. Don't make those messages like, hey, did you see my email? Hey, did you get a chance to read this? Hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? Don't ask your leads to do something for you. Instead, be helpful to them in those emails. When you follow up on the day after you send the first email, and then you follow up 2 days later, and then you follow up 2 days later again, first of all, make sure it's on the work days. At least that's what I would start with, and then you can play around with following up over the weekends as well. And then write your follow-up messages in a way that they add value to the conversation. It's really hard to do when you automate this, but when you do manual follow-up processes, make sure that you always reference something new that's happening in your industry in your follow-up emails. Make sure that you add value and that you're not just making your lead feel like they need to do something for you. You want to do something for them in those follow-up emails. Second, select the platform that works best in your industry. Is it LinkedIn? Is it cold email? Is it Twitter? You want to start with a guest first, and then you track meticulously. How are the open rates for your cold emails? How is the acceptance rate of your LinkedIn connections requests? How many responses do you get on each channel? Track those metrics every single day, and over time you'll know exactly which platform is the best one to reach out to new leads in your industry. Number 3, stop saying just touching base or just following up. Everybody says that. What you want to do is you want to keep a real conversation going. Write call to actions in your follow-up messages that do what the name says. They inspire action. Don't start your follow-up message with, hey, first name, just touching base on my last email. Let me know if you had a chance to read this. Instead, you wanted to do something. Hey, first name, I would really hate for you to miss out on this opportunity, or something like, I would really love to be working with you. Let me know if I can send over more details on what this would look like so that you can make an informed decision and we don't waste each other's time and only move forward if this is a good fit. You want to come from an angle that makes it very easy for your recipient, for the lead, to make a decision whether or not to respond to you, because you want to achieve 2 things. You want to qualify in your cold email and you want to initiate responses. And qualifying can also mean that people tell you it's not a good fit, or it's not a good time, or touch base in 3 months, or touch base in 6 months. That is insight into the buying windows that they get. It also can be an easy brush off, but it helps you not waste time on leads that would not convert anyways. So you want to make sure that in your follow-up emails you qualify hard. Make it easy for them to say yes or to say no, so that you can spend your time on the right leads. Number 4, keep adding value. I already touched on this in the first point. You want to make sure that your follow-up messages are not just, let me know if I can get you this, or let me know if you had the chance to do A, B, C, D. But you can also include links to relevant news articles. You could also share relevant posts on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever platform is relevant in your audience. You can share what an influencer in your industry had to say recently. Make sure that you come across as an asset and not just as somebody who's taking up valuable time. And most importantly, number 5, define clear next steps in every single follow-up email. Don't end the email with, let me know, or don't end the email with, have a great day, but tell them exactly what you want them to do. End with, let me know if it's okay for me to send you more details so you can make an informed decision, or hit reply if you want to hear more details, or give me a call, or book a time in my calendar, or something like that. Make it clear for them what you expect them to do to move forward, or how they can tell you to stop following up with them. And then a bonus point, number 6, have a clear threshold of how many follow-up emails you want to send. For me personally, I send no more than 3 to 4 follow-up emails. You can have 10, you can have 2. Depends on your bandwidth, on how much time you can spend on follow-ups. It also depends on the systems that you've set up. If you automate follow-ups, then you can send more emails. If you do it manually, you will send fewer emails. But with these 6 steps, I was able to improve my follow-up process quite a bit. I'm closing 50% more projects because of this. Because when you think about it, pitching somebody and then expecting a direct response is like asking them to marry you on the first date. Nothing will happen. You can't get onto a first date and ask people to marry you. You have to touch base multiple times, build relationships. That is what a follow-up process in the end is meant to do. If you want to hear more insights like this, subscribe to the Cloudways channel. We've got a ton of content coming up that helps you scale your digital agency. Stay tuned and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on the next videos.